Let's talk about a really powerful, kind of scary idea. No matter where you are or what you're doing, your worst enemy, well, it already lives inside you. It's not the competition, it's not your boss, it's not the market. According to Ryan Holiday's incredible book, it's your own ego. And today, we're going to break down how you can actually fight it, especially when you're just starting out.
Wow. These aren't just some abstract words from a philosophy book. That's a quote from the author himself, describing the moment his own life, fueled by his success and ego, just completely fell apart. It's a real gut punch, and it sets the stage perfectly for why this isn't just a business problem, it's a life problem.
So, before we can even think about fighting this enemy, we've got to know exactly what it is. Let's define the terms of battle, shall we?
Now, what's so wild about Holiday's story is this highlight reel. I mean, on paper, his rise was just meteoric. He was the wonderkind, the guy who made it. But behind the scenes, a totally different story was playing out. His mentors, guys who were giants in their fields, started to just implode in these very public, very destructive ways. And that same toxic force began tearing his own life apart, fueled by the very success he'd been chasing.
Okay, this is so crucial. When we say ego, we are not talking about confidence or the Freudian idea of ego. The book defines ego as this toxic, self-centered ambition. You know that little voice in your head? The one that whispers that you're special, that you deserve more than other people? That's it. It's the petulant child that distorts how you see the world. So this enemy, ego, it attacks us at every single stage of our journey. When we're successful, it makes us arrogant and complacent. When we fail, it makes us bitter and resentful. But for this explainer, we're going to zero in on that first arena, aspiration. Why? Because the habits we build here, at the very beginning, they lay the foundation for everything else that comes after.
All right, so welcome to the Aspire stage. This is ground zero. This is where we either learn to put our ego in its place and build solid habits, or we let it run wild and set ourselves up for a massive crash later on.
So here's a controversial idea. We're always told to find your passion, right? But the book argues that this can actually be a trap. See, unchecked passion is just zeal. It feels amazing, but it often has no direction, no discipline. The book gives the example of Eleanor Roosevelt. Nobody described her as passionate. They said she had a purpose. And believe me, there is a world of difference.
And this comparison just lays it out perfectly. Passion is all about I feel, I want. It's about feeling good. Purpose, on the other hand, is about the mission itself. It's something bigger than you. Think of it like this. Passion is a firework, a brilliant, exciting flash that's over in a second. Purpose is a lighthouse, steady, deliberate, guiding the way no matter how bad the storm gets.
Okay, so if passion isn't the answer, then what is? Well, the first strategy is actually deceptively simple. Just quietly put in the work. Focus on the craft itself, not the awesome story you want to tell about how great you are at the craft.
I absolutely love this story. The famous painter Edgar Degas was complaining to his poet friend Mallarmé. He said, "I have all these incredible ideas for poems, but I just can't seem to write them." And Mallarmé's response was just perfect. Ideas are cheap. Execution is everything. Your ego loves the idea of being a genius, but real success comes from the daily grind of just putting in the words.
Oh man, early pride is such a killer. There's this great story about a young Benjamin Franklin feeling pretty full of himself after a little success. He was walking with the respected minister Cotton Mather, who told him to stoop as they approached a low beam. Well, Franklin was too busy posturing and, bam, he smacked his head hard. The lesson was crystal clear. Keep your head down with a little humility, or trust me, the world will find a way to knock you down.
Okay, just think about this for a second. Kirk Hammett lands his absolute dream job in what was about to become one of the biggest bands on the planet. His ego could have screamed, "I've made it, I'm a rock god." But what did he do instead? He immediately went out and found a guitar teacher, the legend Joe Satriani, to become a student all over again. He knew he wasn't done learning. That kind of humility is what separates the true greats from the flashes in the pan.
So, this whole mindset of humility, of always being a student, it leads us right into our next strategy. And this one is maybe the most counterintuitive of all, especially for an ego-driven mind. It turns out, if you want to get ahead, you should focus on helping other people get ahead.
This is what the book calls the canvas strategy. And let's be clear, this is not about sucking up. Not at all. It's about making yourself indispensable. The idea is to find someone you admire, someone who's further along than you are, and just make their life easier.
Support their work. Find canvases for them to paint on. You will learn more than you ever could on your own, and you'll build this incredible network of people who trust and value you.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it means being the person who takes amazing notes in a meeting and sends them out so everyone is on the same page. It means building a tool that makes your whole team's job easier. While everyone else is scrambling for the spotlight, you're quietly building the stage. And guess what? Eventually, you'll be the one directing the show.
This might be the hardest lesson in the entire book. When Branch Rickey was looking for the first black player to integrate baseball, he didn't just need someone with talent, he needed someone with impossible strength. He asked Jackie Robinson if he had the guts not to fight back. His ego was about to be tested in ways we can barely imagine.
And just look at the sheer weight of what he endured. This isn't just dealing with a tough critic. This was a relentless, violent, hateful campaign. He was hit by pitches on purpose. Players would slide into him with their spikes up, and he even had to smile and pose for a photo with a manager who had been viciously, publicly taunting him. His ability to control his ego, to swallow all of that righteous anger for a purpose that was so much bigger than himself, it literally changed the world.
So all of this, all these stories, all these strategies, it all leads to a final fundamental choice that every single one of us has to make on our journey.
There was this legendary military strategist, John Boyd, a guy who completely changed modern warfare. And he used to give this speech to his most promising young students. He told them that at some point in their career, they would come to a fork in the road.
And this right here, this is the choice. On one side, you can choose to be somebody. You chase the fancy title, the big promotion, the public recognition. But that path requires compromises. On the other side, you can choose to do something, to focus on the work, on the mission. You might not get all the glory, but you won't have to compromise who you are. One path feeds the ego, the other path feeds your purpose.
So that's the question the book leaves us with. And it's a question for you, right now. As you set out to do your own great things in this world, which path will you choose? To be somebody or to do something? Your answer will determine everything.